using a 22 needle circular knitting machine, and we're going to be making this little fella. So let's get started. This snowman is 70 rows and he measures 5.5 inches high. That's not including his hat. If you increase your rows to 100 rows, you get a snowman that's about 7 inches high without the hat. Today I'm using Robin Bonnie Babe Aran, which is available in my local craft store, Cushion Cushions. And to make the complementary hat, I'm going to be using King Cole's Glitz double knitting in Christmassy red, green and white sparkly colours. We're going to start with a standard cast on over and under. Into the yarn feeder. Zero my counter. And we'll get going to 100 rows. I'm keeping light tension on the yarn as it feeds through my hands there, just a light tension. At 5 rows now, and I'll see you when I get to 100 rows. So you're on row 97, 98 now, coming up to 100 rows. Here we are, coming up to a 100th row. So now we cast off, so as usual we cut off our tail of yarn. Remove the yarn from the yarn feeder. And with our needle, crank and cast off. Okay, so our work is now off the machine. Next we need to knit the hat and the scarf. So I'm going to cast on with some waste yarn. I do about approximately 5 rows, but it depends how much yarn I've got left on this little piece. So it could be a bit more. I might just run it through until it runs out. Grab our 2 yarns together, and what I do is I'll feed them in as you normally add one in. I'll lock that down, and then I'll feed one through the bottom feeder and one through the top feeder, like that. So they're both sitting in there. I hope you can see. You can see that one is coming through the top feeder and one is coming through the back feeder as normal, and I keep them then separated with my fingers like that to feed them through. This will give a little more substance to the hat. 0 my clock and 25 rows. And here we are on the last row, coming up to row 25. And we're done. Cast off as normal. And there's our hat. Next we do the scarf. For the scarf we're going to be using the 2 strands of yarn again. And we're going to cast on 2 white needles, 3 black needles, so I can keep track of the 5 needles I need to use. One through there, one through there. And when you're cranking around, you have to make sure that that's your last needle. So it has to go underneath the little red noggin there afterwards. It looks like you're cranking too far, but as soon as that yarn falls underneath that one to the side of the needle that you're knitting, you're done and you can crank back the other way. And we're going to be doing 70 rows for the scarf. And again back there, that's our first needle, so we knit to the noggin to the side of it. Sorry, I can't think of another word other than noggin. And back again, pulling on a little bit of the slack that occurs. Again, make sure it drops underneath there. As soon as it does, you're good to go back the other way. You might get a few risey up needles like that one. Just pull them back down as you're starting off. Again, it's falling under that needle. And we can go back the other way. Fall under that needle, we can go back the other way. Fall under that needle, pull the slack in, and go back the other way. And every time you will get slack because you are knitting further past the needle in order to lock that down. So as it comes back, you will have slack that you need to gently pull in. And I'll see you at row 70. There we are. It actually ended up as row 71, so I can cast off the way I normally cast off. Cut our yarn off, and as usual, remove from the yarn feeder, and we cast off all of 5 stitches. So now what we need to do now is to assemble, and there's our matching scarf. So I'll clear the decks and I'll be back with you shortly. So now we have our 3 items ready to make our snowman. We're going to put the scarf and the hat to one side, and we're going to work on the body. So as usual, we stretch our work out, push one inside the other, so we get 2 skins, an inner and an outer. And I'm just going to quickly gather the inner one in first. You can take more care over it when you do it, and you can put the usual stitches in the top to secure. But I'm just going to do it quickly now here. And I'm just going to tie these 2 together now just to secure them. Just a few knots. So we're going to do like 2/3 for the body of the snowman and about 1/3 for his head. So taking a measuring tape, our project at the moment is about 9.5 inches long. So I'm going to take about 3.5 inches for his head and the rest then for his body. So 3.5 is roughly there. So all I'm going to do is just put a pin in that marker there just so I know where I'm working to. So I'm going to just run a running stitch at this level here. If you can hear my ducks out there. Now you probably can. Stitch on there. So we're going to take some stuffing for his head, roll it into a ball, push it past that line, test whether we need any more. Don't want to overstuff it, but I think that one could do just a little bit more. Go. And then we're going to pull this in then to make a neck. Now don't pull it in too tight because you don't want it to be like a bobblehead. You want it to have some kind of little neck. So I'm tying it around like that. I'm leaving a bit of a neck area there. That's my dog barking again. I can never do a video without a dog barking on it. I do apologise, people. There we go. So we just tie a knot around and we make our neck area. Thank you, Charlie, for your commentary there. There we go. Let's flip him over, a couple of different knots to secure him in. And again we can thread through the excess yarn then into the body of the snowman. Now what we need to do now is to get more yarn, and we're going to do a running stitch around here and pull that in tight. With our needle threaded with yarn ready to go, I've doubled up mine just for extra strength. We're going to go along the bottom there every other stitch, picking up and threading through so we can make a pull cord. Yeah, and we're back to the beginning. So remove that from the needle, and we just cinched him closed. There we go, basic snowman shape. Next we need to work on his little hat and his little scarf and put some features on his face. I will, in my ad hoc way, slip stitch along the top there and seal that off flat. So I finished the edge on the bottom of the little hat and I've rolled it up, and it sits nicely on the top of our snowman there. That's how he's looking so far. So moving on to the scarf, this is what we've done. So I haven't stretched it out yet, so just stretching it out makes it a little longer. I want to put some tassels on the end. What I'm going to do is use a yarn I've got left over on the one end and loop it through a few times. I'm just going to pull it into a knot, put it into a knot there, into a point. Short, you cut it there, cut through the loops, there we are, and we got our little tassels on the end of our scarf. And I'm going to get some spare yarn now and do the same that side. So use our scarf with tassels on both ends, and we just need to take our snowman and tie his scarf on. Whichever side you want to put it, of course. There we go. If you find his head is a little too bobbly, you can always put a few stitches in between the head and the body. But this one seems to be okay so far. Now with this hat, I'll probably put a few stitches in as well, just to hold it on his head, and then we can proceed with the rest of it. But so far, he's looking pretty good. The next step is to make the nose. I'm going to take some orange yarn, and I'm going to wrap it around my finger a few times. I don't know, 8-10 times maybe, so I got a bunch of yarn, and then take it off and squidge it together like that. And then I'm going to take the other end of the yarn, because I've got one end threaded already with a needle. I'm going to wrap it around like that, carefully, because it does get a bit tricky on the end, but we can tidy that up. So this is what I do to make a nose. I wrap it all the way around, trying to make it a little thicker on the bottom than the end, like a carrot would look, well, hopefully anyway. And then we'll run the needle through it to tighten everything together. That's the plan. Okay, so that's about right. So we'll chop that off there. We don't need that, throw that there. So with our needle, I pre-threaded the needle because otherwise I'll be struggling to do it. And I just thread the needle a few times through my carrot shape to anchor everything together. And so far it's worked well with the other two that I've made. So hopefully it'll work for you as well. But like I said, you could cut one out of some felt. You could hand crochet one. But I didn't have any orange felt, so I had to kind of work with what I had. So it kind of works well. Just gotta go back and forth, anchoring things together, making that carroty kind of shape. And I can see now the end is a little bit fat, and it's nice because you can pull it like that and it gets a little bit of a curve on it like a carrot has. It's not completely perfect, is it? Most carrots don't grow perfect. There you go. Can manhandle it a little bit into shape, and there I've got like a carroty shaped nose. And what I'm going to do now is attach him to my snowman. So I'm going to take a kind of just a middle line in his face there, and ooh, painful, I'm going to shove that needle through there right to the back. Actually, I'm going to angle it up a little bit so we can hide any sewing. The hat will hide any of that sewing. And we pull our nose on, straighten it up, and there we go. Just going to push that through there once more. Don't want to pull his face in too much. Another one right through to the back. There we go. And that is pretty well. Look at that, really. If you put 2 strings on the carrot or 2 lengths, it might be better. And I did think about doing that, and then as I was doing the video, it kind of went out of my head. So there we go. That's kind of anchored for now. I'll sort that out a bit later. But there you go. There's his little nose. You can see his little nose. Now I've got 2 pony beads for eyes somewhere. Here they are here. 2 little black pony beads. So I'm just going to thread the needle now with some black yarn. So I'm going to grab a pony bead. Again, slight angle. Leaving the tail at the back. Grab the pony bead. Thread it on. Push it back so it's practically at where the other one was. And there's that. So I'm going to leave that off there like that. I'm going to do the same then the other side. You might be a little bit squint-eyed, this one. There we go. So what I'll do then is I'll tie these at the back. Again, you could sew eyes on, you could do them with yarn, you could even make the wobbly eyes, you know, the plastic googly eyes you stick on. Obviously being careful they don't come off with their little hands and things, because this isn't a toy after all, it is a decoration. So I'm putting a few stitches in my snowman's hat, just a few around the side there, just to anchor the hat on so it doesn't keep falling off. And round to the back. There we go. And as you can see, the hat has hidden all those stitches there where we attached the eyes. There we go. So there's our snowman. You could add some more pony beads or put a smiley face on him. I prefer him without the smiley face myself. I think he's cute enough. Or you could put some buttons down his belly there. There you go. With his butties. That's Welsh for friends, by the way. There we go. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I'd love it if you subscribed, if you haven't already. That'd be fantastic. Leave a comment, and if you do make this pattern, I'd love to see it. Tag me on Instagram, craftycars33, and I'll see you next time. All the best now. Take care of yourselves. Bye.